Live from WRAL News Headquarters in Raleigh, your number one source for local news. WRAL News, coverage you can count on.
Hey, our dew points really starting to drop now into the tolerable zone, headed down to refreshing by tomorrow. I'll show you how long this nice weather will stick around.
And 3 teenagers were arrested in connection to a July murder. How these arrests contribute to the rate of homicides in Raleigh.
And conversations about the future of Red Hat Amphitheater are heating up today, where you're looking live. Why some people are concerned relocating the theater will have big impacts on downtown businesses. A lot of people have some strong opinions about this topic. We'll get to that coming up. Thanks for joining us. I'm Michelle McConaughey.
I'm Chris Lovingood, and today we're starting your day off with the weather forecast, because behind me you can see there's plenty of cloud coverage at Dix Park, but we are starting to see a little more sunlight peek out the clouds. We've got meteorologist Elizabeth Gardner to get you started.
Yeah, check out Wake Forest here. Seeing some blue trying to peek through here as we're looking up to the north. We're going to see more and more sunshine as we get through the day. And typically, on August 20th, that would mean a fairly miserable, hot, sticky day. But it does not mean that today. We're going to see our wind shifting to northerly today. It's been a little cloudy, keeping our temperatures a bit warmer in the triangle. So we're still sitting at 71. But our dew point has dropped significantly. We started at about 67 this morning. We've dropped to 63. We're going to drop on into the 50s this afternoon, which is going to feel fantastic. 69 right now in Southern Pines and in Rocky Mount. It's 63 in Roxborough. So we've already seen the temperatures fall in some places. And highs will be well below normal this afternoon, looking at 83 degrees under partly cloudy skies. I'll talk about how long our little sneak peek of fall will last coming up in just a bit. Eric?
Elizabeth, taking a look at the traffic map here this morning, we got a new crash popped up in just the last couple of minutes we got to tell you about. It's going to be down here on I-40 in between Hammond and South Saunders. One of those westbound lanes is going to be closed as a result of this crash. You can see this already causing some pretty significant backups there, stretching all the way past Rock Quarry Road. Take a live look out at the traffic cam at Rock Quarry. You can definitely see those slowdowns. Traffic kind of inching along there. Depending on where you're trying to get to, might be better to go ahead and hop off here and head into downtown. That might save you a couple of minutes. Otherwise, stick with that traffic, but just remember you are going to have to get over as you approach that crash scene. Otherwise, we're seeing a lot of this around the Beltline this morning. Some more of that morning traffic delay. You're looking at I-87 at New Hope Road. Just that normal slowdown as you're trying to merge onto the Beltline. We'll keep a close eye on that crash, these other delays, and let you know as things change.
All right, thanks, Eric. 3 teenagers are charged with murder in Raleigh more than 3 weeks after a man was found shot in a car. The shooting happened on Highgate Place around 2 a.m. July 27th. Around the same time, police found a car that crashed into a tree on Millburney Road. A man inside the car had been shot. He later died at the hospital. Yesterday, police arrested 2 16-year-olds and a 15-year-old in connection to that shooting. And these arrests bring the total number of juveniles charged in connection to homicides in Raleigh this year to at least 9. So far in 2024, Raleigh police have investigated 19 murders in the city. Juveniles have been charged in 6 of those murders.
Today, people will share what they think of plans to relocate Red Hat Amphitheater in downtown Raleigh. A final vote on the plan is happening next month. WRAL's Laura Levine joins us live from the Red Hat Amphitheater. And Laura, Raleigh City Council members will hear from people at a meeting tonight.
The city of Raleigh tells me more than 30 people have signed up for this meeting tonight. And of that number, the majority do plan to speak out about this icon here in the center of downtown Raleigh, the Red Hat Amphitheater. A lot of those opinions are mixed, some in favor and some against this relocation project. So here's what's at stake. The city is considering moving Red Hat a block south and to expand the Raleigh Convention Center. Now, this would force a portion of South Street between Dawson and McDowell to close. Some neighbors against the move in the Boylan Heights community have shared these renderings to show how this could be done without isolating communities from downtown. The convention center plans to add 300,000 square feet of space to bring the total to about 800,000 square feet. More than $387 million has been allocated to help pay for the expansion and relocation. And business leaders say if this plan doesn't go forward, the city could be at risk of losing Red Hat altogether, and with it, tens of millions of dollars in direct economic impact. So today, city leaders will discuss also purchasing property here that will help with the relocation of this project. They also plan to set a public hearing ahead of that vote on September 17th. Laura Levine, WRAL News in Raleigh.
And students across North Carolina are on wait lists that are months long to get driver's education. Today, the State Board of Education will talk about ways to reduce that wait time. WRAL's Kelsey Coffey joins us live from the DMV on Avon Ferry Road in Raleigh. And Kelsey, the backups comes as the number of driving instructors has dropped.
Michelle, it does. And we've seen a line here at this DMV location since 6 o'clock this morning. So this is the front of the line here. And then it stretches all the way back there. Probably more than 20 people are in this line right now. So we've been staying on top of this issue for both student drivers and parents for months now. This morning, state education leaders will receive an update on the status of driver's ed. We spoke with Athens Drive High School student Adelaide Anderson. She was waiting in line for hours yesterday. Anderson has been trying to earn her driver's permit for weeks. There's a 3 to 5 month wait time for behind the wheel driving instruction in Wake schools. A drop in the number of instructions coupled with the increased number of teenagers is to blame. Anderson says she's been to 3 different DMV locations between Newton, Sanford, and Raleigh. She says she'd had the same experience at each one. Long wait times with no guarantee of service. She says some students at her school give up on the process.
Some of them from my school, they wait until they're like 18 to finally go get their driver's license because it takes too long.
We're expecting to get an update about the status of driver's ed this morning at 10 o'clock. Kelsey Coffey, WRAL News, live in Raleigh.
We are heading into day 2 of the Democratic National Convention. Right now, this is a live look inside Chicago's United Center. It's pretty quiet right now, but that'll change later. This is where the theme of tonight's event is a bold vision for America's future. Former President Barack Obama and First Lady Michelle Obama will be the keynote speakers. Other speakers tonight will include Second Gentleman Doug Emhoff and Illinois Governor J.B. Pritzker.
President Biden passed the torch to his vice president and his party's nominee Kamala Harris during his address last night. He entered the convention to a standing ovation. Biden made the case for why Harris is best suited to continue the work they've done over the past 3.5 years.
She's tough, she's experienced, and she has enormous integrity, enormous integrity. Her story represents the best American story.
And Biden talked about many of his administration's achievements and shared the credit with Harris. He said picking Harris as a running mate was the best decision he ever made.
Former President Donald Trump is pushing forward with his campaign. Today, he'll be in Howell, Michigan for a crime and safety event. His running mate, J.D. Vance, will be at an event in Kenosha, Wisconsin. Trump participated in a roundtable discussion on the economy in York, Pennsylvania yesterday, and he talked about his plan to cut taxes, and he attacked Vice President Kamala Harris's economic plan.
Kamala Harris's radical liberal playbook sends jobs and wealth to other countries.
Trump and Vance will be in North Carolina tomorrow. He'll be in Asheboro for an address on national security. And WRAL's Ashley Rowe will be there for live reports throughout the day.
A Wake County man is charged with felony secret peeping. Investigators say he secretly recorded a woman in the restroom of a business. Deputies arrested this man, Colton Redmond, at a real estate company near Garner Bannister Properties. WRAL tried to reach out to the company, but it was closed and no one answered the phone.
Today, the State Board of Elections will discuss talking about addressing a federal judge ruling. Now, the board must allow Cornel West on the presidential ballot. Last week's ruling overturned a previous decision by the Board of Elections. The board decided to keep West off the ballot because of questions it had about the signatures his Justice for All party received and earned him access. Now, the meeting starts at 12:30 this afternoon.
And the Wake County Board of Education meets today. It's their last meeting before the start of the school year, a week from today. They'll be taking a look at topics that will come before the board later in the school year. And that meeting will get started at 5:30 this evening.
A search is underway in Italy because a yacht sank. Where the search stands as a British tech tycoon and 5 others are missing.
And Disney ditching efforts to block a wrongful death lawsuit. Why the company is changing course after trying to get it dismissed.
And have you seen this 7-day forecast? We have some gorgeous August weather in our forecast. Temperatures, both highs and lows, well below normal for the rest of the week. I'll show you why we're going to see a bigger warm up next week coming up.
Welcome back. 8:13 on your Monday morning. Look at this beautiful view over Lake Gaston. Couple clouds in the sky, but wow, it's really pretty out there. Meteorologist Elizabeth Gardner standing by with our weather headlines. The humidity dropping off. I mean, it's a gift.
I don't know about you, but I've been looking forward to this for days now. And today is the day that the humidity will be falling. It's already started to fall a little bit out there this morning, but we ended up with some cloud cover because of all the moisture lingering from some storms that we saw late yesterday. So those clouds are going to be burning off, a flow coming out of the north, delivering a delightful air mass. A nice September feel, at least through Friday or Saturday. But then I don't even want to talk about this. We'll just cover that up. But it's not time. It's August the 20th, and we're so ready to be done with the summer feel. But we'll continue to see some of that at least through the first part of September, at least on and off. It is still pretty cloudy here at RDU, but we'll see those clouds breaking up. Cold front sliding away from us, opening the door to some nice dry air coming in from Canada, and that's going to deliver just a lovely week for us starting tomorrow. Tomorrow morning, we'll see a temperature of 62 as you head out the door with a high of 80 degrees, and then something similar really all the way into the day Saturday. So it looks lovely. The blue shaded area is where temperatures are below normal. But as we move closer to early next week, say Monday, we'll start to see more of a southwesterly flow developing, and that's going to deliver some more summer-like conditions. We'll see the jet stream lifting northward. And again, that southwesterly flow starts to push in, and we're back to some warmer conditions. We're looking at dry conditions all the way through Saturday and Sunday. And you may think, oh, do I need to water? Take a look at this. This is a look at the amount of rain that we've seen in the last 30 days. Our percent of normal in our viewing area is anywhere from 225% to 275% of the normal rainfall that we would see in the last 30 days. So we are good. Some of that has been from tropical systems, of course, Debbie, as a matter of fact. And here's Ernesto moving on up into the North Atlantic. It is going to fizzle. It's still a Category 1 storm as it's moving off of the coast of Canada. Yesterday, our rip current danger was still high. Today, it's moderate. And of course, that storm is moving well away from us. But even if we don't have a storm offshore, we can still have high rip current danger. So if you're headed to the coast this weekend, just keep that in mind. Looking at the tropics, nothing coming our way right now, but we look 2 to 3 weeks down the road, and certainly we have a good chance, a 60% chance there in that dark shaded area that we would have a system developing out there in the middle of the Atlantic. And that makes sense because we are in the peak of the season and we will be into much of September. So beautiful weather headed our way, but of course turning a lot hotter next week as we jump back to around 90. We'll talk about our comfortable dew points and how long that sticks around coming out. Eric?
Elizabeth, taking a look at traffic here this morning. Got a couple of trouble spots to tell you about. First of which is going to be down here on I-40 westbound in between Hammond and South Saunders. Right now, the shoulder there is shut down because of a crash. You can see that's leading to some backups that stretch all the way back to that 4440 interchange there. This adding 5 to 10 minutes to your drive coming in. If you're passing through this area, probably don't need to divert, just have to deal with it, unfortunately. But if you're headed to downtown, you might want to consider hopping off right here, I-40 at Rock Quarry Road, where we're taking a live look right now. You can see the traffic headed westbound. It's not the slowest it could be, but still, it's going to add a couple of minutes to your drive there. Otherwise, another crash to tell you about is going to be up on Glenwood Avenue. Right here, Glenwood Avenue near Pleasant Valley Road. You can see some delays building in there. Nothing too major. Still working to learn exactly how serious that crash is, whether anybody was hurt. But a couple of things to keep your eyes peeled for as you're on that drive in this morning. We'll let you know as these crashes start to clear up.
Thank you, Eric. A state of emergency is in effect in Connecticut, and this is because of torrential rains on Sunday that triggered massive flooding, and at least 2 people were killed. Dozens of roads are washed out, and authorities say it's going to take time to clean this up. The governor there is asking for federal assistance, and over the next few days, authorities will survey this damage.
Top U.S. intelligence officials have confirmed Iran was behind a hack of former President Trump's presidential campaign and an attempted hack of the Biden-Harris campaign. They say that hackers also leaked Trump campaign documents to several news organizations. The FBI says Trump has been briefed on the hack. Democratic campaign officials say the hackers were not able to access their information. The FBI says it is still investigating.
Families in one of Ukraine's eastern cities are under evacuation orders, and this is because of Russian troops advancing toward the city. Around 53,000 people live there. That includes 4,000 children. And this is happening during a time Ukraine's military forces have managed to advance into Russian territory.
A jury found the parents of the accused 2018 Santa Fe high school shooter not liable. They reached that verdict in the civil trial against Dimitrios Patagurtz's parents yesterday. The victim's parents' attorneys say the accused shooter's parents failed to provide necessary support for their son's mental health and did not do enough to prevent him from accessing their guns. The jury did find their son liable for the shooting and partially an online ammo seller, Lucky Gunner. Authorities say that he shot and killed 8 students and 2 teachers in 2018.
A Fort Liberty soldier is facing federal charges. He's accused of trafficking firearms and lying about his association with a group that advocated overthrowing the U.S. government. Court documents state that Kai Nix is accused of lying about his involvement with extremist groups on a security clearance application. The indictment also accused Nix of selling stolen firearms. The Southern Poverty Law Center claims Nix belonged to Patriot Front. That's described as a white supremacist group. Now, if convicted, he could spend up to 30 years in prison.
A federal judge shut down Hunter Biden's attempt to dismiss his tax evasion case. The president's son tried to use the same ruling that ended Donald Trump's classified documents case. Hunter Biden argued that the Justice Department special counsel who brought the charges was unconstitutionally appointed and unlawfully funded. However, the judge ruled his decision was based entirely on technical and procedural grounds and concluded that the motion was filed too late. The next hearing in the case is scheduled for tomorrow.
If you like BurgerFi, you may not have long to eat there. The burger chain is almost out of cash and options. BurgerFi has only $4.5 million on hand and is expecting a loss of more than $18 million for the most recent quarter. That's because of a problem it had with its lender that can declare the company's debt due at any time. If that happens, BurgerFi would have no way to pay it and the lender could foreclose. BurgerFi says it may have to file for bankruptcy protection.
The search for 6 people who are missing after a luxury super yacht sank off the coast of Italy is ramping up today. We know the UK's Marine Accident Investigation Branch is sending inspectors to help with the investigation. Authorities say British tech giant Mike Lynch is among those still missing after a possible water spout led the yacht to capsize. 15 people were rescued, including Lynch's wife. The ship is now more than 160 feet below the water. Lynch was cleared in a U.S. fraud trial regarding the sale of his company back in June. Lynch's co-defendant in that trial and former VP of finance at his company, Autonomy, Stephen Chamberlain, died 2 days before Lynch disappeared. Chamberlain's lawyer said he died after being hit by a car while on a run on Saturday. And the Canadian owner of Circle K has made a bid to buy Japanese-owned 7-Eleven. If the deal goes through, it would be the biggest foreign takeover of a Japanese company on record and the largest cross-border acquisition this year. In a statement on Monday, the operator of 7-Eleven, called 7&I, confirmed that it received an offer for all of its outstanding shares. Shares of 7&I closed almost 23% higher in Tokyo, pushing the company's market value above $38 billion.
Jeff Hogan in the WRAL Live Center. Brand new information coming out. The National Highway Transportation Authority is reporting a major recall involving hundreds of thousands of BMW vehicles. To be specific, 720,000 vehicles are being recalled due to a water pump issue. There's an electrical connector that could potentially lead to a fire. This includes some X1, X3, and X5 vehicles, as well as other models. The impacted vehicles have water pumps with insufficient sealing that may be susceptible to a short circuit and, in some rare cases, the potential for a fire. So vehicle owners are expected to get a notification about this in October. They say take your car to a dealer and they will fix it for free.
Thank you, Jeff. Disney is giving up its efforts to block a wrongful debt lawsuit. According to the lawsuit, the man's wife died from an allergic reaction after eating at Disney Springs in Florida last year. They were promised that the food would be allergy-free. Disney wanted the case dismissed because the man agreed to the terms of a Disney Plus subscription. It requires users to arbitrate all disputes with the company. In a statement yesterday, the company said it was waiving its right to arbitration. It said humanity is its top priority and the issue should be handled sensitively.
10 more states are joining the lawsuit against Ticketmaster's parent company, Live Nation. The updated lawsuit now includes 39 states and Washington, D.C. The lawsuit claims Live Nation has monopolized the concert ticket industry, controlling about 80% of major concert venues' primary ticketing. 26 states are seeking damages from their citizens being overcharged. Wake County Schools wants to make sure it has enough laptops for its students. The work that's being done now to get thousands of computers into their hands.
And the wait list for driver's ed has left families and parents frustrated for months. How state education leaders are working to reduce those wait times today.
As you get into your car, tune to WRAL News Plus on your radio. In Raleigh on 99.3 FM. In Durham, 96.5 FM. And everywhere on 101.5 HD3.
Good morning. Happy Tuesday. Time now is 8:26. I'm Michelle McConaughey. Starting off beautiful for your Tuesday morning. Meteorologist Elizabeth Gardner has a look from our WRAL tower cam. Elizabeth, a couple clouds in the sky, but it feels nice out.
It does. We've really started to see our dew point, our level of humidity, level of moisture in the air dropping over the last couple of hours. So we're getting there. It is a bit cloudy here as we take a look across Wake County. We're looking off to the west. Heading out the door this morning, temperatures anywhere from the mid 60s to low 70s. And we will see increasing sunshine. Will be partly cloudy by lunchtime. So fairly comfortable as you're stepping out the door. A great feeling this afternoon. Temperatures will be down into the low 80s. Tomorrow morning, we're going to start off in the 50s and 60s. I'll show you how long that will last coming up on Fox 50. Eric?
Elizabeth, taking a look at traffic here this morning. We got a crash down here on I-40 westbound right next to downtown that's causing some slowdowns. You can see it's popping up right in between Hammond Road and South Saunders there. This leading to backups that are stretching at this point all the way down onto I-40 past that 440 split. Taking a live look out there right in the middle. This is I-40 at Rock Quarry Road. You can see that traffic starting to slow down a little bit as you're coming around that curve. This is not going to add too much time to your drive, only about 5 minutes if you're headed that way.
Thanks, Eric. Two 16-year-old and a 15-year-old are charged with murder in Raleigh. Police say the shooting happened on Highgate Place on July 27th. A man died after police found him shot in a car that had crashed on Milburnie Road. So far this year, at least 9 juveniles have been charged in connection to 6 homicides in Raleigh. Next on Fox 50, state education leaders are working to address families' concerns about the wait times for driver's education. And coming up next on Today, 3 great chefs join on the plaza for Al's 70th birthday.
Shot in 4K ultra high definition. Your number one source for local news. WRAL News. Coverage you can count on.
And the muggy meter heading down. This morning was at steamy. We're down to tolerable, heading to refreshing. And I'll talk about how long it'll feel like that coming up.
Parents, many of you have dealt with frustration as your teenager waits on the driver's education list. Well, this morning, hear what's being causing that and how state education leaders plan to address it today.
And the school badly damaged by a tornado earlier this month is gearing up to start school. The orientation plan for parents and students that's happening today. Thanks for joining us here on your Tuesday morning, August 20th. I'm Michelle McConaughey.
I'm Chris Lovingood. I love how, if you've been watching our newscast this whole morning, it was dark in Dix Park. Now we're starting to see a little more light, even more so here at the 8:30 half hour. And now we've got meteorologist Elizabeth Gardner, though it looks a little gray over at RDU.
It does, doesn't it? I mean, we're pretty socked in with the clouds. Here's why. We had some thunderstorms across parts of the area yesterday. I didn't see that at my house, but there were definitely some in the viewing area. So enough lingering moisture from that as we cooled the atmosphere last night has created this deck of low clouds. But it's a shallow deck, and as we start to warm things up, those clouds will start to break up a little bit. We're already seeing some of the drier air move in. It is 71, and that temperature hasn't budged much, but our dew point has been falling. We started early this morning at the 4 o'clock hour at 67. We've now dropped to 63. We'll be headed into the 50s this afternoon, and that will make it feel much more comfortable. 73 in Fayetteville, 69 in Rocky Mount, 64 in Roxborough. So temperatures are not bad out there, and it'll be a nice afternoon. We'll see a high of 83 down from our normal high of 89. I'll show you how long temperatures will stay below normal. Coming up, Eric.
Elizabeth, we are continuing to keep our eye on this crash down here on I-40 westbound. This is the one that's in between Hammond and South Saunders. The shoulder there is still shut down, although some of the backups that we were seeing, even in just the last couple of minutes, have started to clear up. Shouldn't be too big an issue for your drive as you're coming in today. You can see as we take a live look out at I-40 and Rock Quarry Road, things at this point flowing pretty good. No major issues there. And as we look at a lot of those drive times coming into the city so far, no major delays as you're coming in at this point. Taking another look, this is I-87 at New Hope Road. You can see things flowing nicely there as well. A lot of those backups starting to clear up as we get deeper into the morning. Of course, we'll keep a close eye on things here, let you know as they change.
Thank you, Eric. 3 teenagers are charged with murder in Raleigh, and they were charged more than 3 weeks after a man was found shot in a car. The shooting happened on Highgate Place around 2 a.m. on July 27th. Around the same time, police found a car that crashed into a tree on Milburnie Road. That's when the man inside the car was found shot, and he later died at the hospital. Yesterday, police arrested 2 16-year-olds and a 15-year-old in connection to the shooting.
These arrests bring the total number of juveniles charged in connection to homicides in Raleigh this year to at least 9. So far in 2024, Raleigh police have investigated 19 murders in the city. Juveniles have been charged in 6 of those murders.
Parents and students are frustrated because of long wait lists for driver's ed. Sometimes the wait is months long. Today, the State Board of Education will talk about ways to reduce that wait. WRAL's Kelsey Coffey shares another issue, a drop in the number of driving instructors.
Nearly 20 people are waiting in this line here at the DMV on Avent Ferry Road. So the front of the line is up there, and then it stretches all the way to the back. We've been staying on top of this issue for student drivers for months now. This morning, state education leaders will receive an update on the status of driver's ed. We spoke with Athens Drive High School student Adelaide Anderson. She was waiting in line for hours yesterday. Anderson has been trying to earn her driver's permit for weeks. There's a 3 to 5 month wait time for behind-the-wheel driving instruction in Wake schools. A drop in the number of instructors coupled with the increased number of teenagers are to blame. Anderson says she's been to 3 different DMV locations between Newton, Sanford, and Raleigh. She says she had the same experience at each one. Long lines outside with no guarantee of service.
It was hot outside, people sweating, people leaving. It was just a struggle to just try to get inside.
We're expecting to get an update about driver's ed this morning at 10 o'clock. Kelsey Coffey, WRAL News in Raleigh.
Today, people will share what they think of plans to relocate Red Hat Amphitheater in downtown Raleigh. As WRAL's Laura Levine shares, city council members will hear from the public at a meeting tonight before a final vote next month.
I learned from the city of Raleigh more than 30 people plan to speak at tonight's city council meeting. The majority plan to share their thoughts about the relocation of this iconic staple here in the heart of downtown Raleigh. There's a lot of mixed opinions about this one. So here's what's at stake. The city is considering moving Red Hat a block south and to expand the Raleigh Convention Center. This would force a portion of South Street between Dawson and McDowell to close. Some neighbors against the move in the Boylan Heights community have shared these renderings to show how this could be done without isolating communities from downtown. The convention center plans to add 300,000 square feet of space to bring the total to about 800,000 square feet. And more than $387 million has been allocated to help pay for the expansion and relocation. The business leaders say if this plan doesn't go forward, the city could be at risk of losing Red Hat altogether, and with it, tens of millions of dollars in direct economic impact.
This impact is very much diffused across downtown, meaning it has impact across a lot of restaurants, retailers, bars, which is great. So they really feel it and see it more so than almost anything else. Most other events, all of that, they really see it.
So today, city leaders will discuss also purchasing property here that will help with the relocation of this project. They also plan to set a public hearing ahead of that vote on September 17th. Laura Levine, WRAL News in Raleigh.
We are entering day 2 of the Democratic National Convention in Chicago. Last night was a farewell to President Biden, and today the focus will turn to Vice President Kamala Harris and her running mate, Tim Walz. Former President Barack Obama and his wife, Michelle, will headline the convention's second night. They are expected to talk about Harris's qualifications to serve as president and what Democrats need to do to win the general election. Second Gentleman Doug Emhoff is also expected to speak, as well as Illinois Governor J.B. Pritzker.
President Biden ended night one with the pass of the torch to his vice president and his party's nominee, Kamala Harris.
Ready to vote for democracy and for America? Let me ask you, are you ready to elect Kamala Harris and Tim Walz? It's been the honor of my lifetime to serve as your president. I love the job, but I love my country more.
Biden talked about many of his administration's achievements and shared his credit with Harris. He said picking Harris as a running mate was the best decision he ever made. And Vice President Kamala Harris delivered a surprise speech last night. Harris walked out to an energized crowd with Beyonce's Freedom playing in the background. Thousands of delegates cheered and applauded as Harris delivered a brief speech to fire up the crowd. She paid tribute to President Biden ahead of his keynote address.
Joe, thank you for your historic leadership, for your lifetime of service to our nation, and for all you will continue to do. We are forever grateful to you.
Harris is expected to deliver remarks at a campaign rally in Milwaukee, Wisconsin tonight, and she'll take the stage again at the DNC on Thursday to formally accept her nomination.
Former Secretary of State Hillary Clinton also took the stage. As the first woman to receive a major party's nomination in 2016, she urged voters to help shatter the glass ceiling by electing Harris as the first female president.
Kamala has the character, experience, and vision to lead us forward.
Biden and Clinton, two former Trump opponents, made the case to defeat him in November and send Harris and Walz to the White House.
Meanwhile, former President Donald Trump is pushing forward with his campaign. Today, he'll be in Howell, Michigan for a crime and safety event. His running mate, J.D. Vance, will be at an event in Kenosha, Wisconsin. And then tomorrow, Trump and Vance will be in Asheboro. The campaign says they will deliver remarks on national security at the North Carolina Aviation Museum at 2 o'clock tomorrow afternoon. And WRAL's Ashley Rowe will be at the rally. She's going to bring us live reports throughout the day on WRAL News and WRAL.com.
Today, student orientation is happening for Springfield Middle School in Wilson County, less than 2 weeks after it was badly damaged by a tornado. Families of 6th, 7th, and 8th graders will be at Lucama Elementary School tonight for the orientation. The tornado that hit August 8th tore off the roof and knocked down walls of the 6th and 7th grade wings of the middle school. The school plans to use mobile units for some classrooms, and others will be moved to the 8th grade wing. The first day of school is on Monday.
The woman accused of helping a convicted murderer escape from custody could face more than 3 years in prison. Jacobia Crisp made her first court appearance yesterday in Orange County. Police said Ramon Alston escaped a prison transport van last week outside a hospital, and then later, Crisp was arrested for aiding and abetting a fugitive. She currently has a public defender. Alston is now in the Granville Correctional Institute, and he has not yet made his first appearance for escaping.
Coming up, you may not want to scroll through videos on your phone if you're already bored. The new research showing how digital switching to avoid boredom often backfires.
And there is a battle going on along the North Carolina coast, but it's all in good fun. What started a sign war between businesses in Carteret County that's become pretty popular online. Giving you a look outside right now, just kind of giving you an overview of Raleigh as we have some cloudy skies as you're waking up this morning. I don't know, I feel like we're being scammed a little bit, Elizabeth, because in one camera I saw we had some sunshine, the other one we have a lot of clouds. This is kind of a mixed bag there.
It is. You know, we're going to see more and more sunshine. We had to take a look at North Hills, and earlier this morning it was just a complete deck of cloud cover. But it is starting to break up a little bit. We have a flow coming out of the north. It's going to bring some drier air that's going to help these clouds to break up and bring us a really nice afternoon. Right now it is 71. Our dew point has dropped down to 63. And of course, the dew point is the measure of moisture in the atmosphere. So the lower this number goes, the more comfortable it feels. We started at 67 this morning. We've dropped it to 63. We are on our way to a pretty nice treat, sort of a sneak peek at fall to come in a few weeks. It's not, not typically that it sticks around from now on, but we will see a really nice week ahead. 83 in Raleigh, 82 in Durham, and 85 in Fayetteville for the highs this afternoon. Tomorrow morning, our temperatures could feel in some places as much as 10 degrees cooler than they have this morning. For example, Durham and Raleigh tomorrow morning, 62, and we've been in the low 70s so far this morning, so big drop for us. Fayetteville tomorrow, 64, Goldsboro 63, and some 50s around Roxborough and South Hill tomorrow morning. So feeling lovely, and Thursday morning even cooler, down to 59 in the Triangle, widespread 50s, and that will feel more like late September. We take a look at what we're seeing in terms of those morning lows. Our normal low is 69. So again, that 59, 10 degrees below normal. And other days, Wednesday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday will be in the low 60s. So it's not just a day or two. We're going to see a nice stretch from now into the weekend of cooler than normal temperatures. Our normal high is 89, and today 83, and then tomorrow 80 degrees, and we'll hold it in the low to mid 80s into the weekend. This is how much of the country that is seeing temperatures below normal. A whole lot of the country east of the Rockies is seeing temperatures well below normal. That lasts into the weekend, but then we'll start to see some warmth building in, and temperatures next week are likely to turn much warmer. Take a look at our muggy meter. So it's been tolerable this morning. By tomorrow, we drop all the way to refreshing, and then we're going to see it moving back up to comfy as we get into the weekend. This is a bit of an unusual pattern for this time of year. Meteorologist Chris Michaels is with me this morning to talk about where all this is coming from.
And it quite literally is coming from Canada. The forecast brought to you by the letter A. It's autumnal air from Alberta, and we mean that quite literally. Check it out. We were actually able to take a piece of air and track it back to its origins 10 days ago. You see, it started in Alberta, Canada, went up and then dove down with the jet stream right here into North Carolina. So we get that multi-day stretch of drier weather. We haven't seen a stretch like that since late May into early June. So as Elizabeth was just saying, this is actually kind of a nice treat for us. And we're kind of held in this blocking or holding pattern. And this quite literally is called the omega block. It looks like the Greek letter omega, but where we're situated in it is we're in between a high to the west and a low to the north. So that air coming in out of the north and northwest, that's what leads to multiple days of below average temperatures. But you know that's not going to last forever. Here's Elizabeth again with a check of when we could see near 90-degree heat making a comeback.
Yeah, thanks for that explanation, Chris. We're going to see that high pressure system that's in the middle of the country starting to push in by the weekend, and that's going to allow our temperatures Sunday to climb back to 88 and back to 90 on Monday. That's actually normal for this time of year, but it is awfully hard to go from this nice little taste of fall back to summer. But you know, it won't be long. Another few weeks and we'll be back to some of these cooler temperatures.
Time is 8:47. A jury found the parents of the accused 2018 Santa Fe high school shooter not liable. They reached that verdict yesterday in the civil trial against the parents of Dimitrios Pagortzis. The attorneys of the victim's parents argued the parents of the accused shooter failed to provide necessary support for their son's mental health. They also argued not enough was done to prevent him from accessing their guns. The jury did find the accused shooter liable, though. An online ammo seller, Lucky Gunner, was found partially liable. Authorities say Pagortzis shot and killed 8 students and killed 2 teachers in 2018.
A former pro football player is facing charges after a woman says that he urinated on her during a flight out of Boston. Gonser Chirilis pleaded not guilty Monday to charges of disorderly conduct, disturbing a flight crew, and resisting arrest. Investigators say Chirilis was on a flight from Boston to Dublin over the weekend when he urinated on an elderly woman, forcing the plane to return to Logan Airport. In an Instagram post, he explained that he took a sleeping medication that he doesn't normally use, which caused him to behave this way. He apologized to the passengers and crew. He is expected back in court in October.
Covering Wake County today, school officials plan to have enough Chromebooks for every student this year. Teams at a warehouse in Apex are working to meet the demand for new and refurbished laptops. They're replacing 25,000 older devices. About 6,000 more should be ready by the time school starts.
Parents, here's that QR code again for a WRAL survey. We're taking responses from you about the next state superintendent of public education up for election in November. We want to know what issues you find most important to be addressed by the person overseeing your child's education and what qualifications you think it's important they have. You can use your phone to scan this QR code on the bottom right of your screen. It'll take you to the survey. And if you can't get to your phone quickly enough, all you have to do is search Back to School on WRAL.com and you'll find the survey at the top.
Several hundred people respond to that. Boy Meets World actress Danielle Fishel has been diagnosed with cancer. Now, you may remember her playing Topanga in the show. The 43-year-old made the announcement on the Pod Meets World podcast. She says that she is going to have surgery and follow-up treatment. And she also said that her cancer is, quote, technically stage 0, largely because of an early diagnosis.
American women are having babies less often. That's according to data from the CDC that shows that the fertility rate reached a historic low in 2023. The new data shows that there are only 55 births for every 1,000 females. However, the fertility rate has been dropping for decades, except for an uptick in 2021 that ignited theories about a pandemic baby bump. The CDC also found that more women are waiting until their early 30s to have kids.
Some major medical news just into the WRAL Live Center. Eli Lilly's weight loss drug Zepbound just went through a 3-year study. Over 1,000 patients were involved in this, and I want to show you the headlines here of what was found. And you can see right here, 94%. It cut the risk of diabetes, so showing a long-term benefit of obesity treatment, in particular cutting the risk of type 2 diabetes in 94% of those pre-diabetic adults who were overweight or obese. Now, people who were on the highest dose lost 23% of their body weight in the 3 years of the weekly injections. It is the longest completed trial of the drugs Zepbound and the brand name Mounjaro.
Thank you, Jeff. You may be more bored if you digitally watch through videos on your social media feeds. That's when you watch short portions of videos online instead of watching the entire thing. According to researchers at the University of Toronto, people reported feeling more bored when they switched between videos. Now, in comparison, people reported feeling more engaged and satisfied if they sat through the video. Researchers say digital switching may reduce the quality of experiencing videos online, and that's because people are not fully engaged with the content.
Jeff Goldblum is taking on a much more mythological role in his next performance. Rick Damigella has the details and more in the Hollywood Minute.
Mortals, I made you, and this is how you repay me.
Jeff Goldblum portrays the Greek god Zeus in the streaming series Chaos. The modern take on mythology finds the king of the gods worrying about a prophecy of his fall from power. Chaos reigns when the series debuts on Netflix August 29th.
Thank you.
More Netflix news as Millie Bobby Brown's book has been optioned by the streamer. Deadline reports the Stranger Things actress will adapt her World War II novel 19 Steps into a feature film. Pokemon World Championships are staying stateside. This year's multi-game matchup took place in Honolulu over the weekend. The closing moments featured this trailer announcing the 2025 event will take place in Anaheim, California, with the 2026 showdown landing in San Francisco. Catching them all in Hollywood, I'm Rick Damigella.
And you got the Nintendo Museum open up in Japan in October. It's a good year to be a Nintendo fan. All right, a war between businesses in Carteret County is heating up, but it's all in good fun.
Yeah, check this out. A sign battle has started between restaurants and businesses in the area. A restaurant called Dank Burrito was the one who started it, poking fun after the business across the street left a happy birthday sign up a little too long. The war seems to be catching on all over our state. One woman says she's seen signs from Emerald Isle to Craven County. There's even a 2024 sign wars Carteret County NC Facebook page. Of course there is.
You think our bosses will let us make a sign?
I don't think so.
No, you don't think so? Okay, well, we tried. Hey, before we go to break, here are the winning lottery numbers, and we'll get you another check on weather and traffic next.